Well, pretty sure I fucked that one up, but hey everybody, and welcome to the Masters of Evil live podcast, brought to you by InStockTrades.com. This week, Alan will shit on another book that Mike picked.
Is this your pick?
Strange Spaceman, and joined by the gang as always.
Tom Thiessian.
I'm Alan. I thought we were done with your picks, though.
No, this was the last one. We went over this last time.
Oh.
We were like every picture book, and then I was like, no, there's only, and we went through everything. So we can do that again. Or so the last book that I put on the list. So every week we randomly pick a book. We each picked 5 books to start, I believe, and we're whittling down the list. We've got 3 more after this. That doesn't make sense. Oh, we did one episode that was just no book. That's right. Plus we did other. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Anyways,
remember I took 1602 out and I replaced it with Wolf.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Wolf should be on there.
Oh, all right. Well, then we have 3 books after this. Anyway, this week we reviewed WE3 by Grant Morrison and the always lovely Frank Quiteley. WE3 is described as an emotional journey. 3 house pets weaponized for lethal combat by the government as they search for home and attempt to ward off the shadowy agency that created them, with nervous systems amplified to match their terrifying maniacal exoskeletons. The members of Animal Weapon 3 have the firepower of a battalion between them. So, yeah, that's pretty much spot on.
Realistic and relevant? What is realistic about this? The 3 animals in mech suits?
Well, I think
see that all the time.
The Washington Post called it realistic and relevant. Is that what you're referring to on the thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some meta commentary in here about
maybe like animal rights or something.
Maybe or military complex more or less is what I would think. Like, what I don't know. I mean, from the second I opened this book, I've read this before. I think probably maybe more than once. I haven't read it in forever though. I totally forgot everything about it until I opened the book, and man, it was just so sad. It's like I don't know. This is more sad when you see this happening to animals than I was thinking. It made me think about Invincible with the Omni-Man that they were making, the Omni-Men. That's what I kind of thought of, cyborgs and how they was doing it against their will. But this was just so much more. It's just so sad.
You can't. I don't know. It's animals. Everyone has a softer spot for animals than we do watching humans die. If you don't, then I don't want to talk to you, Alan. But it literally is just, it makes it more impactful when you read about animals. It always does. I don't know. It was hard it was a good book in general. It was a good book. 3 issues. I would have enjoyed it being 6.
Yeah.
But it got the whole story across, just not, very quickly, I guess. So
there was no story. They portrayed everything with just panels, honestly. I mean, there was no the dogs, the animals' lives before the mech suits, or the girl training them or whatever. There's none of that. You just get straight
escape.
Them being escaped and then fighting, and then the homeless guy adopting.
Yeah, it's them escaping is the entire thing, the entire 3 issues.
Yeah. So you have the 3 animals, right? So you have they're 1, 2, and 3. 1 being the dog, 2 being the cat, and 3 being the rabbit, and yeah, they're just these fucking weaponized mecha animals that tear shit apart. Um, I think that's like, like that's just Grant Morrison's such a weird dude, and like I would love to hear like where this story came from, like because it's funny that it's so short and it seems complete to me. It doesn't seem like it's supposed to be like this was supposed to be a pitch for a series or anything like that. It seemed like he had a story to tell with Frank Quiteley, and they told it together in 3 issues, and that was the intent. And I thought it was good.
I'm happy to go more than 3 issues.
Yeah. So overall, you didn't like it. Is that what I'm gathering?
It isn't that I didn't like it. It was just, I don't know. Like I mean, even though like Tom says, like it's animals. Like I didn't really care. Honestly, about like when the bunny got shot with the shotgun. I was like, I wish the bunny would have died. Like it was like I didn't know how the bunny didn't die, but
that was weird. Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, cool. It's some animals escaping, and they have mech suits, and now they're fighting, and now they don't have mech suits, and now they're adopted by this homeless guy. Great.
That literally is the entire story. So
it is. Like, I really didn't care less besides them being animals. Like there was no like draw to any one character more than the other character, and it was all just like, here's a really fast story about these mech animals. I think I cared more about the lady who like set them free.
Yeah, the doctor or whatever. Yeah.
Because you could tell how much she cared about the 3 animals and everything. So,
or she was fucking psychotic. I'm not sure what I think. I'm not sure. I mean, she did this to them in the first place, so
true.
She's kind of like mad scientist, fucking psychotic. But like, yeah, I don't want to say redeeming, but she had some type of humanity to her at the end, I guess. Certainly, she realized what she did wrong.
She got attached to her experiments.
Yes, which is what they said not to do.
The rats were crazy. Like that one guy, like making that other rat that had like a drill on his head, just like drill through another rat's face for no reason, just because he wanted to. I was like, that was cool.
Yeah, watching those rats, especially after coming off watching the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
I was like, imagine if Ratcatcher had a bunch of rats that had drills and hammers for heads and shit. That would be crazy.
Right.
But I think this was just like the art was very like Frank Quiteley took his time on a lot of this. You could tell like this was just very much him being able to do almost whatever he wanted. Like there was like what? I think there was like 4 or 6 pages of 18 panel grid that he's drawing all these tiny in the first book, I think it was, right? And I didn't grab any of them because you wouldn't even be able to see it. But I mean, really, it was at least 4 pages, maybe 5 or 6, and 18 panel grids, and like just telling the whole story of her going in the laboratory and what she did with them and how she got them out and then leaving and getting caught. And it was pretty good. I mean, and then like the splash pages he did, like I'll roll through some of them, but they were like, they're silly, but they're gorgeous, right? Like, yeah, it's a dog, a cat, and a bunny in these mech suits, but like, it's fucking gorgeous.
There was a couple panels that were really weird to me. Like I think there were both times it happened. They were on like the very top of the page, and it was like a bunch of like, fuck,
like this.
Did you get it?
No.
That's cool.
Yeah,
but then there was a bunch that it looked like they were running through a bunch of like weird shifted panels, and it was like all running through the same thing. I don't know. I gotta find it.
Yeah, look for it. But like this is what I'm talking about. Like I mean, just like this is the cat ripping, like shooting needles into soldiers and ripping them apart, and it's just fucking brutal and awesome. And like they showed like the one little panel where he's showing the intensity in the cat's eyeballs. Like I don't know, there was a lot of, for a cat in a mecha suit, I felt like there was a lot of like emotion behind it. It was definitely I don't know. What did you think about the art, Alan?
I mean, it's good art. I didn't love it particularly. It's not the. I don't know. I mean, it's good.
It is weird. He draws some weird shit sometimes.
Well, it isn't even that it's weird. It's just, I mean, it's good art. Would I specifically, want every comic that I read to have art like that? No.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like almost like a fine art than it is like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I like more like the clunky, fucking, grimy looking art. Like it's really well done. As an artist, I can't be like, oh, this shit art.
All right, let's go close up here. We're gonna go on you.
This
Oh
thing.
yes, that was awesome. Yeah.
Like, so the cat is like jumping through a bunch of panels and just like fucking dudes up real hard. And it's a very interesting take. I haven't seen something like this before.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat. It happened like a couple times, I think, in issue 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think Frank Quiteley is somebody who can be taken in. Like, I don't think. First of all, I don't think his art style. He could do an ongoing book ever, right? But just because it probably takes so long.
Yeah, he's not very fast.
Yeah, but he's good in small doses, and when he does do it, like All-Star Superman is obviously they work together on that. That's the obvious go-to, right? But even like his work in Jupiter's Circle, I mean, he's got a bunch of DC work as well that he just does random DC books, and it's always gorgeous. But yeah, I agree. It's
good, but it's like
small doses.
It kind of has like, I don't know, like it's kind of soft. You know what I mean? Like it's not very. I don't know. Like even the brutal parts, like it's not. I don't know. It has like this soft kind of, almost like an airbrushy kind of feel to it. Like it's just very.
It's very specific. Like between him and maybe like Nick Pitara, the guy that did what's that Image title about Mars? Shit.
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, you can tell his artwork from a distance. You know exactly who it is, right, when you pick up the book.
Yeah, I like All-Star Superman. It's the best Superman story ever.
Oof, really?
I think so.
I think Red Sun beats it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
I just like Soviet Superman's pretty awesome.
It is. I mean, I think one of my favorite, like, things that Superman exists in is probably Kingdom Come, which is also an Elseworld. But I think standalone Superman, I have to go with All-Star Superman. And I think a lot of it is the art also. Just like Jimmy with his rainbow fucking whatever it is, cloak and all that, like in outer, like the art is just out of this world.
I also just don't like Superman though. So.
I also don't like Superman either. Yeah, no, I don't either. So the more obscure stuff is definitely what I would like.
Yeah. Speaking of,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I like Point Superman. Where he's all skinny and like deprived and not really like there and crazy.
Yeah.
I guess you have to read Flash.
Yeah, apparently. But I was gonna say, speaking of rainbows, like before we stray too far away from this book, even though that's exactly what I'm gonna do, is how do you guys feel about Robin coming out as bisexual?
I mean, you can if you look at like kind of whatever
what they wear all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first saw that, I'm not reading the book. I literally just went and picked up my pull, and it was almost.
What incarnation of Robin is it though?
It's Tim Drake. So I didn't know who it was.
Nobody cares about Tim Drake anyway. He could be fucking. No one cares.
I don't really care about Tim Drake personally. I don't care. Like, I like him better than Damian. I'll tell you that much.
Nope.
And like, at first I thought they were just talking about Dick Grayson because, I mean, I just always thought Dick Grayson was gay. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a surprising thing. And, like, I never thought it would be Jason. I don't think it would be Jason Todd just because he ties into that super ultra macho, whatever. Yeah. And then I thought I didn't even think about Tim Drake. And then I'm like, I wonder if it's Damien. And then I read about it and I'm like, oh yeah, sure. That's fine. Who gives a shit, right? Like,
well, there's also what's the
tell a good story.
What's the chick Robin? The one from
Carrie Kelly.
Carrie.
Yeah. I feel like comic books is they're very hard. Like if you ask anybody else, they're very hard on pushing the woman agenda right now. So I think that's who I don't read Batman, so I don't really give a shit.
I don't read it either.
I think any of the negative arguments against it are just so one-sided because it's just I don't know. I just don't know why. I don't know why it has to be a conversation. Like, who cares? Like, people don't get this angry when fucking Venom becomes changes to a new character, right? Like, I don't know. Shit changes.
There are some people that care about that shit, but it's.
Yeah, I guess so.
But who cares? Like, it's. Is he sucking dicks? Like, instead of fighting crime, like Batman calls him up and he's like, "Hey, we gotta fight some crime." He's like, "Nah, I can't. I'm blowing this guy.
Too busy.
Too busy."
I will say this. Like, I don't know. I didn't read the book, so I can't speak to the quality of the book. I will say that this, and I hate this phrase, but I guess it's the only way to say it. But the forced diversity in some of this stuff. It is exactly that. It's forced, and if it doesn't, if you're just saying if it's a throwaway line, the way I read it, it seemed like there's this character that he met, and then all of a sudden he asked him out on a date, and he said yes, right? So there's, I don't know, is there context to that? Is there going to be a story between them, or is there going to be this deep relationship where it's complex and they go through shit, and one of them gets into some stuff and shit happens and all this stuff happens, then I'm all for it. If they just did it because they want to try to appeal or pander to whatever community they're trying to do to then I don't even know who the writer is. If the writer is gay or bisexual or from that community, then it probably holds more weight than if it's. So I don't know. I don't know enough about it to speak, but also I don't care about what sexual orientation a character is. It's not going to challenge me as a comic book reader. That's comic books change and evolve. That's how it should be.
Right. Wouldn't it be a crazy fucking thing if he goes on a date with this guy to get close to him to then bust his villain ring or something that this guy's part of or something, and he's just totally fucking faking it the whole time. Yeah, all these people are, and then you're gonna piss off, then you're gonna piss off everyone in the LGBT community because they were like, oh, we have a new representative, that kind of thing, and then you fucking can't win, But
you'll never,
the biggest argument I hear from people is the fact that they're taking an established character that has 60 years or whatever of history and changing something about them. And I'm like, when you really think about it, some people don't even come out or don't even realize that they are part of this community until way later on in their life.
That's
what I mean? So if a comic book character,
all right, Mike, here's your cue.
Comic book character can't evolve either. How are you supposed to connect and care about that character? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, readership changes, and that's such a great point, Tom. I didn't even think about it that way, right? That's a struggle. This writer, right? I'm gonna go off a ledge here and assume the writer is probably gay or bisexual or something along those lines, right? Because that's just, I'm gonna make that assumption. But that might be, he might relate to this. He might be well into his career and established as a person and writing comics for this long or whatever, and just recently came out as gay, right? So that might be something they relate with or not. I mean, I don't know, but
also, Tim Drake's not even that old of a fucking character. It'd be different if it was Batman's gay,
right?
Well, I mean, Batman's gay also, right? We know that. He's got little boys that live in his house that run
Yeah,
around.
he's probably he's probably a pedophile.
He's about as gay as they come. He's literally probably the worst type of human.
But it's one thing to change a character. I mean, I honestly don't even care as long as the fucking story is okay. Like I don't care.
Yeah, I hate. You know what I think? You know what I hate? I hate that it has to be a conversation. That's what I hate. Like I like tell me the book was shitty. Tell me like the art was crap. The story's going nowhere. They're throwing random shit at a wall to see if it sticks.
Right.
Like, tell me that. Like that's fine. I'm okay with that, right? But like, don't say you hate something because like your childhood is just ruined. Because Batman, like if you like Batman from the 70s on, then you don't like original Batman. So who the fuck are you, right? Original Batman was campy and ridiculous and gay as fuck. Batman now is like this hard ass fucking murderer, That's not. He's basically the Punisher. That's not who Batman is. So like, don't come with that fucking bullshit. Like characters change, especially when they've been around for whether it's been 80 years or 20 years. It doesn't matter. Like it's fucking.
I mean, you also got. I mean, comic books kind of reflect the time, like the time period as well too. So I mean, as more things become more socially acceptable, you're going to see more like openly gay characters and non-binary characters, and it's just like one of those things. I mean, people are going to complain about, and it's why. I mean, we're in a fucking. I mean, there's aliens and all kinds of different creatures, but you're carrying a fucking Tim Drake of all fucking Robins in the whole wide world.
Yeah, right. The kid can do like triple backflips off of a building and then swing away, but him being bisexual is unreal. Yeah. It's crazy, right?
The writer of this book, because this is also a book called Batman Urban Legends. So I don't know how canon this actually is or not.
So that's all tied into the future state thing that happened when people were upset because the new Batman was going to be black and all this other shit, right? Yeah, but so I think it's more or less like just another universe. It's canon, but it's multiverse shit. Like it's not really canon.
It's written by Megan Fitzmartin. Died. She apparently is like a screenwriter. And so I think this is some of her first comic stuff from what I can tell research-wise on my cell phone right now.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, who knows what story that person is trying to tell, right? So let them tell their story. And if it's a shitty story, then be like, hey, I spent all this money on these oversized issues that were $8 a piece, and you told a shitty story because you're a screenwriter and you don't know how to write a comic. Like that, I'll be upset about that. I'm okay with that, but the rest just doesn't make sense to me. Like anybody who doesn't, the other thing to like what Alan said too, like right, it changes with the times, and like the reason Stan Lee and like some of these other like I know there was like some really hard conservative like people that wrote comics back in the day, like Steve Ditko, I believe was one of them, a couple other people or whatever. But like the reason they didn't openly talk about this stuff back then was because nobody would buy your fucking comic because you couldn't talk about it because then, they would say something horrible and you would be attacked and you would never sell another comic book.
Right.
So when you have creators coming out later and saying, oh yeah, this character was always X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be. Like they're just saying, yeah, I always in my mind when I wrote this character, and I'm not saying that's what happened here, but it's happened plenty of times where interpretations were skewed just because they couldn't say blatant things that most readers caught on to.
Can you imagine, Superman coming out and them trying to sell a black Superman to white America?
Yeah, no.
You would have never seen Superman past issue 1.
You could barely do it right now. And it's 2021. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Like,
it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't care as long as
that's something to get angry about.
Yeah. I have normal stuff going on in my life that, I'm more worried about paying bills than I am fucking Tim Drake liking penises and vaginas.
You know what? Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. To be honest with you, like I felt bad the other day. So I drastically cut down on my pull list. I went in. I hadn't been there in like 2 months.
I don't know why you're even still picking up new books.
Because I still read all the indie stuff. I still like when I do get like I read through everything that like all my Rick Remender stuff, all my Jeff Lemire stuff, like any of the newer books that I'll try out, anything that's Brubaker, Hickman, like I still read all that stuff. Like I love that stuff. I want to read it month to month. I don't like double shipping. I like a monthly book that I can get two of in a row.
Heard of our other sponsor, Read Comics Online for Free.com.
But I also like to support. I mean, I've been going to this comic shop for ever. You know what I mean? And I love to support them. But like for the first time in a long time, the other day, I was like, I cut everything Marvel and DC except for the few Black Label books and Spider-Man. Those are the only, and I'll always read Spider-Man, and I'm enjoying it. I really do like it. So, but like all the offshoots of Spider-Man, the Carnage stuff, the Venom stuff, none of that I read, and I felt bad. I felt bad telling him like, "Hey man, like I'm done. Like, or whatever you ordered me, put in my box. I will pay for. But like your next order, don't place the orders for me. I'm done. I'm gonna read some of this Black Label. I'm gonna keep all my indie, and I want Spider-Man, and that's it. I haven't done that in forever." And like that's where I feel bad. Like read a good comic, so I'm willing to pay the money. Don't charge me $8 for, or do and just do it every once in a while.
Right.
Stop doing fucking events.
Ultra Mega out of Image is really cool, but it's like $8 an issue because it's like a prestige format because it is thicker than a regular issue, and I do like reading that much of it because it's a cool story. But like,
I'll wait for the trade.
Yeah, it adds up so fast.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so let's judge comics for the quality of the content, right? Not necessarily the content itself. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't. So let's now that we just went off on that huge tangent, we need to do ratings. I'll go first. I'll get through this quickly. So I love this book, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. But instead of that typical 4 that I've been doing, I love the art so much. I'm going 4.5 on the art and 3.5 on the story because I actually do agree with Alan, and I think that I'm sure Grant Morrison wrote a lot of this plot and had a lot of ideas on what things should look like and how it should flow. But I think Frank Quiteley he told the story, and his artwork was fucking gorgeous. So it's an 8, but it's a 4.5 for art, 3.5 for story.
All right, I get that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say for writing, I'm gonna give it a 3. Excuse me. I wanted like 5 issues worth, and maybe some like backstory on like the animals before they were taken, or maybe even show them being taken, or any of their training beforehand or anything like that, just to get a slightly more invested in them as characters. Again, even though we only saw them for 3 issues, I still felt real fucking bad because again, it was animals, and that catches me pretty hard. But I would give it a 3 overall for writing, and then for art, there were some cool things, and Frank Quiteley does some really crazy stuff sometimes, and really nice looking stuff. I don't think this is the best he's ever done, in my opinion. I've definitely seen better from him, but there was cool things about it. So out of 5, I would give it. I stuck to the strict reading that I've been doing. I would probably, for me, I would say it was 3.5. So a solid 6.5 from me. What are you doing down there?
Oh, I was going to show you all the books that I picked up.
We got comics.
Oh, okay. Look at that. A show about comics. We have comics to show.
Some of the books I just got. So, okay, ratings. Man, I can't really say. So, For the story, it kind of depends on if you're rating the story on the writing, or if you're because the most of the story was told through pictures.
Yeah, however you want to do it. I mean, if you were listening, I gave Frank Quiteley a little bit higher of a rating because I thought he told the story better than the actual words.
So, I mean, I would say writing a 3, and art a 3. I'll give it a solid 6.
Yeah, that's a good score. I mean, that's still
because like I said, like I don't necessarily love his style of art, but you know, he's a good artist.
Yeah,
I don't.
He's definitely he's definitely a particular. He's got a particular style. Like even the way he draws people, like they're just very specific. Like you know, Frank Quiteley people when you see them, they're almost like not right to a certain degree. But
you may run through these books that I picked. I've actually picked up a lot more.
Yeah, let's do some pickups.
I
think we should make pickups a normal part of our show.
So I drove 3 hours away. I had to wake up at 5:30. I didn't go to bed till 3:30. Actually, I had to wake up at 5, and then we get there. It doesn't open till 10. We get there at 8:30. I'm wearing a Carhartt shirt. I'm sweating my ass off for an hour and a half outside the venue. We finally get in. It is jam-packed full of people, probably 5 vendors of comics. My buddy found one of those chromium Spider-Man covers. That's
the Spider-Man one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He found it for $200. It's going for like $1,800 graded on fucking eBay. I'm like, and I was literally right there where it was, and I bought a Mortal Kombat comic. Instead of seeing the fucking, he like texted me and was like, "Hey, you're gonna be pissed," because we went to a con a long time ago, and he bought the Chrome 300 book, and from some guy that I was buying stuff from too. So we did that. I got some stuff. Got Inhumans 5.
Oh,
bye.
My bad.
With her. I think she's gonna take the mantle of Black Widow. So I feel like that book's. I've had that book before. I keep selling it.
Inhumans 5 is first. Who is it? First White Widow or whatever.
No, the Black Widow's sister. I can't remember her fucking name.
Yelena Belova or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then some Ninja Turtle stuff.
God, I love that book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Those are like $2. So I was like, why would I not pick it up?
Fucking A.
Some Invincible, First Conquest.
I love the all blue suit more than the blue and yellow. That was when they did that change. Some people were like, "Oh, it's fucking stupid," and I thought it was way cooler.
And I'm really big on like second prints, so I got. Also, some of these books I got.
What is it? What is that? Is that Gore the God Butcher?
Well, it's like the origin of Gore, but it's a second print. Deep Control. I've always really liked this cover, and I can never find it anywhere.
That's great. That's awesome.
Doom Patrol Season 3 just got advertised.
I know. I think it's coming out like quick. Oh no, that's Titans.
Yeah.
Is that He-Man? Another thing that people are angry about? Oh, too many women. Oh, why are there all those women around my He-Man?
First, Bucky as Captain America.
Nice.
Some Mortal
Kombat. Is bitchin'. I've never seen that one before.
That's awesome.
Fuck.
I have tons of these books. It was like in the dollar bin, so I was like, okay, well, whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then The Last of Us. It's actually I'm kind of bummed because I thought it was the first print. Like with the first print, the letters are in white. This is a second print. Doesn't fetch as much money.
Another show coming out that I'm actually pretty excited about.
The second one. So we actually went to the con, and then on the way back, we found this like lady who owned this house, and she turned it into like a comic book store / video rental place. You can like rent DVDs from her. And she had we called her and I was like, hey, you have a bunch of comics. I was like, you have comics? And she's like, yeah. she's like a German lady. She didn't really speak English too well.
So she was like, yeah.
Yeah, and so we stopped by there, and I felt bad. I'm very like, she's like an older lady. She's like, I kept the store open. My husband died of cancer. His wish was that I kept the store open after he died. She's like telling us all this, and I'm like, none of the comics are priced, and I'm like, how much for the like what are the price on the comics? And she goes, I'll have to look them up once you find them. And I was just like, fuck. And I didn't really like
look them up on InStockTrades.com.
No, she looked them up on Comic Realm, which I never heard of people looking up stuff on Comic Realm.
Yeah.
And my buddy ended up not getting anything because of that. And the books that I got weren't anything. Like I pretty much paid like, maybe a little bit over, but I felt bad for the lady because it just didn't seem like anybody ever buys anything from there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, maybe that's why. Maybe because she didn't price her shit accordingly and offer fair market value for some of her stuff. I've certainly been in that situation. I go like, one thing I do, much to my wife's dismay, is I literally fucking stop at every antique store, thrift, like whatever. Especially like in New England, they're all over the fucking place, right? But
yeah,
I once went to this place, and I'll tell you, like I'll never say this again. I walked right in. I had been to like a bunch of places, and I walked in, and instead of browsing, I just walked up to the lady. I was like, "Hey, do you guys have comic books?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I got a box." And she took me downstairs, and she's like,
raped
you. I know these are all worth a lot of money, so don't try and haggle me. And I know you guys come in here all the time trying to take comic books, and I'm like, lady, I'm just looking at comic books, like, and then I'm looking through them, and I'm like, none of these are worth anything. And I was like, and I think I there was a couple of like detective comics books, and I'm like, hey, how much do you want for these? And she's like, I don't know, like $10-15 a piece. I got to go look it up. And I'm like, these are like 80s detective comics. These are not worth anything. She's like, they're old. I'm like, okay, whatever. But like one thing I learned from that is like I never just blow into a shop and say, do you have comics? Yeah. Like I always like start with like, if they ask me what I'm looking for, I say, oh, like I like old science fiction novels, old horror novels, any of that kind of stuff, like a bunch of reprinted stuff like anthologies, maybe comics. And I like kind of throw it out there and like see what they got. But like that's one mistake I'll never make because it's happened more than once. People just think you're trying to take them, which I don't know. I probably would, but price your shit.
I didn't buy it. I think the only book that I probably paid more than I should have was the Invincible book, just because all those stupid fucking Invincible books are catching a little heat on them. So
what con was it that you went to again?
It was called Bell County Comic Con. There was so many fucking people there. It was ridiculous.
Really?
And so like there's like 3 different little areas, and it was like in a stadium. And like the main area, there's only one comic vendor, and it's this guy that does all these shows, and everything that he has is overpriced. He has great books, but it's like fucking crazy overpriced. Yeah. And like there's only one way in and one way out, and it was just like everyone was just pretty much waiting in line to get out of the fucking, like either come in or come out. It was horrible. We were there for maybe 3 or 4 hours, and then we were like, bye.
It had like one-way traffic flow because of like COVID things, or just because that's the way it was set up?
That was just like the only way, like the entrance, like it was like a really small arena. They didn't have. I guess like it's one of those things where like the town is very small, so like no one really has anything to do but go to this Comic-Con kind of thing, because there wasn't even really like a lot. Like I think whenever you go down into the main places where like all the artists and like their guests were, and everyone was just waiting in these lines, and I'm like, these people aren't even that great. Like you're waiting in this long ass line to meet fucking Lisa from Saved by the Bell, like.
At least it's pretty hot. I don't know.
It's just, but it's just like how
old are they now, though?
But it was just one of those things where it's like it was more of like, I guess, a small town. People just came out just to come out. Like there's lots of people in cosplay.
And have you been to this one before?
No, I didn't never even heard of it. My buddy's like, hey, have you ever heard of this? And I was like, nope. And then he was like, I'm thinking about going. And I was like, well, I'm off that day. If you're gonna go, I'll fucking tag along.
Yeah.
And little did I know that we had to wake up at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning to.
Oh.
I didn't have to drive, so it wasn't that bad, but it was pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah.
I was so sweaty, dude. Like I just had like this big puddle of sweat in the middle of my shirt before we even went in. Like it was just like right out in the sun. Like I think it was like.
Do you think that's because you're wearing like a beanie in Texas?
No, it was just like that. That shirt is very heavy, and I just run very heavy anyway. I run very heavy.
You run heavy?
Yeah, I run very. I run hot, man. Like I fucking get out of the sweater and I'm sweating. Like I get out of the shower and I'm like sweating. Like what's going on?
No, yeah. Well, you live in Texas too, so that happens.
Yeah, it was bad. I think it was like 90 something degrees, but it felt like 106 or something like that. And I'm just standing straight directly in the sun for an hour and a half. Hadn't eaten breakfast, 2 hours of sleep. Like it was.
It was an open stadium, so you were in the sun the whole time?
No. So like inside, like it was covered and shit like that, but it's just like you had to wait outside, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was.
I'll take cold weather over fucking hot heat any day.
I mean, it was cool because I got those Ninja Turtle books, but I mean, I could have found those somewhere. I mean, I haven't seen them anywhere around where I live, and so I mean, for me, that was worth it, I guess. No, it wasn't really worth it.
Those are some good books.
Yeah, but I mean, I could have not had those books and stayed asleep and not sleep.
Come on, the experience is fun. It's worth it, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
It would have been better if I had gotten that Chrome Spider-Man book, but.
Right. So your buddy bought it, right? So he actually bought it?
My buddy is he finds like everything fucking amazing. But he's like one of those guys that knows like all the like weird variants of like the nothing books that people fucking love. Like
yeah.
Well, this Danger Girl book is low print and it's a variant cover, and I'm like, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have time to remember all that stuff. It doesn't work.
I just don't know that I think if I cared.
Well, some of those, books can fetch fucking like crazy money.
Yeah.
But he's a lot more intelligent than I am. He does like facial reconstruction surgery.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just do hand reconstruction.
I just like hang out with him. I like met him like at like these little shows that we have, and I never actually like hung out with him, but it was kind of cool. We just talked comics the whole time there, and the whole way back I was just like exhausted. I was like, fuck, I'm so tired. Like,
don't talk to me. I'm gonna nap in your car.
That's fun. I can't wait to be back at a fucking con. I don't. I told Tom this the other day. I don't think I'm going to C2E2 this year because.
You told us that last week.
I said I was going to C2E2, and then him and Steve both said they're not going, and now there's like basically I don't know. It seems like they're trying to make COVID money back, which I get. Like I don't really necessarily care. But it doesn't seem like the lineup is really that awesome. And I also have a feeling that it's probably not going to happen by the time we get there. I don't know. So I just decided I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the cons that are more like celebrity based are probably going to get canceled, and maybe the ones that are more just like strictly comics.
Well, I think it's because the celebrities, like the writers, artists, celebrities, they're all backing out, right? Because
absolutely.
Fuck this, like.
Mm-hmm. And I feel a lot of shows now are kind of dependent on, Tom Holland's here or fucking because I mean they don't go to the links to get a good comic book artist or a good comic book writer to go to their shows. They get this thing that's going to bring in people more than.
Yeah, and then you have like I think it was NYCC, like they just said like you have to prove vaccination to come to New York Comic Con.
Yeah,
and I unfollowed a couple people from IG after I saw some of those. Not that I care, right? I don't care. I like not to like I don't want to say that I'm judging anyone for not being vaccinated. I'm not.
Mike demands mandatory vaccination for everyone.
I don't. To be honest with you, I feel a certain way, but like, do you? But also, like, if you didn't see stuff like that coming, you're probably dumb. I don't know. Like,
You know who else did this? Hitler.
yeah. Or we have since, polio. So,
Right. Yeah, Punk Rock Bowling in Las Vegas just announced that you have to prove that you're vaccinated or show a negative test result within the last 48 hours or something like that. And a bunch of people were like, "Oh, this is the most unpunk rock thing I've ever heard of." Blah blah blah.
No,
and I was like, "Don't go, because then there's less of you I have to deal with, and less of you I have to fucking smell, because none of you shower."
Yeah,
so,
you know what's really punk rock? Getting a disease and dying.
Right?
Getting a virus and died. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, they want to fucking make their shows safe. Like, if you don't, you have the choice of not getting vaccinated, and that's your choice. And just like you have your choice, they have the choice of making the rules of their show. And if that's a big problem too with everybody in America, is if you don't see their way, then you're the wrong. But they say, hey, this is the way it's going to be. This is my way. And
you're okay. Yeah, what you want is okay, but maybe like the vast majority of the medical community and science says is probably bullshit. But my favorite part of it, and we'll draw it to this, and we'll move over to the Suicide Squad. I hope at least after this comment. But one of the best things I heard recently was, a few years back there was that guy in Denver who owned a bakery, and he refused to make a cake for a gay couple, right? And everybody and I understood this at the time, and I understand it now, right? Everybody were fighting and saying you can't deny service to them because they're gay and blah blah blah. And why I don't agree with that, because I think it's bad business. Like, good business, you should just do business with anyone who's going to pay you, as long as they're good people and they pay you, right? And they're not fucking your shit up. So right, they ruled it was his choice to make a decision to not sell that cake to that gay couple, right? His business, his choice. I understand that. That's fine. So now you have to abide by those rules. When a company says, if you're going to work with us, come to our show, come to our movie theater, whatever it may be, come to our amusement park, you got to be vaccinated. That's what it is, right? So now everybody who fought that side of those kind of things, now you just have to follow through. And because, I'll say, sure, I don't agree with that guy's politics, but it's his business. He's a baker. He chooses who he does business with. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll never do business with a person like that, but that's fine. I think it's stupid. If you include everybody, then you have more people to make money from. That's just good capitalism. That's just being a good business owner. But you do you. You just got to follow through. Follow through with your fucking antics. That's it.
Well, I think everyone should have a choice. If you don't want to get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. But don't expect, everyone to fucking be okay with you not getting vaccinated.
Yeah,
everyone has their choice. People.
You're also making a choice that when you go out in public potentially harms another human being. That's the difference between a lot of this stuff. The choice to be a anti-gay baker.
I mean, I'm not vaccinated, and I go out and lick things all the time.
Right.
Everybody's choice. Everybody does their thing. Go ahead.
I just remembered who I was trying to talk about earlier. Nick Batara. He did Manhattan Projects. With Hickman. And when you look, he draws just like Frank Quiteley, in my opinion. So the two of them are very distinct, and they're the only two people that I feel draw that way. And it's just, again, it's a very soft kind of feel to everything, and
it's similar. Yeah.
It's
and he also has he does it. So in that, I do know what you're talking about now. So in Manhattan Project, he does have those. He does a lot of that weird off coloring, not negative, but I don't know. It's his normal work juxtaposed next to something else that's kind of I don't know, a mirroring image. He's got a lot of that. He's very he's got a distinct style, but he's got those round heads that Frank Quiteley does. He's a little bit more 2D than maybe Frank Quiteley is, a little flatter.
Yeah.
Where Frank Quiteley's people are they got round heads, but then they got big old round heads that look like watermelons too, you know, like, and they've got big tree trunk legs and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
How was Suicide Squad?
So yeah, go read WE3. Tell us what you think about it. The one person that's been watching this entire. I'll tell you what we got to do. We got to be better. We gotta be on social media more and produce this more, or we don't have to. Who gives a fuck? Suicide Squad. I'll tell you what. I fucking loved it, man. Like, it was not the pinnacle of comic book movies. I didn't expect it to. But it was fun. It was hilarious. It was gory, and the villains, like, and I don't mean the Suicide Squad like villains, but like the actual, like, between the Thinker and Starro, like, it was just fucking so good. I thought. I don't know. What did you guys think about it?
I was happy Pete Davidson died real early into the movie.
Yeah, me too. I don't like that guy.
He's a shitty actor.
Yeah, he's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
You guys got me sitting next to a werewolf.
Yeah,
and
he
I
was
was
horrible.
happy. I was like, fuck, he better not be through this whole movie.
Yeah.
Someone was like asking, they're like, you know, why is it rated R for sexual content? And I was like, I don't know. You know, I was like, maybe. Then someone else said that, oh, you see Weasel's dick, and I was like, oh, okay. And then so I watched it. I watched it a second time, and I did not see Weasel's dick.
You see another guy.
Right.
There's a guy.
There is, yes. When they go to rescue Rick Flag, there's a guy who stands up like full dick shot, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I guess
then
somebody
I saw titties halfway through too that I didn't remember seeing the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the dance club scene when they run in the back room, there's like girls with no shirts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm normally just looking for dicks, so I don't know. What do I know?
You and Tim Drake both.
Me and Tim Drake. Hey, that's whatever. Anyways, yeah. So overall thoughts? I mean, like,
I said
you watched it first.
I liked it, and I think it's one of the best DC movies since Nolan's trilogy.
I agree.
It's better than Justice League. It's better than Batman vs Superman. It's better than. I mean, I still like Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel is probably up there with me.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, besides Nolan's Batman stuff, I think it was one of the best. Oh, I guess not including Joker, but
yeah, I don't include Joker, but like I would say. Like Man of Steel, definitely, and then like the only other contender is I really enjoyed the first Wonder Woman, but the only reason I take Wonder Woman out is just because Ares sucked so horribly.
Yeah.
But so outside of that, I agree with you. Yeah, and you know I also watched it 2 times. And
I wanted to watch it again before we had the podcast, but I was like, do I play video games with my friends all night, or do I watch Suicide Squad like second time?
Video games is the right choice.
Yeah, that's what I picked.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Lloyd Kaufman in the fucking like bar scene? So Lloyd Kaufman from Troma, who directed and wrote the Toxic Avenger movies, Class of Nukem High, you know, all that kind of stuff. He was in the first Guardians movie as well, because James Gunn started his career with Troma, so he just kind of pulls him into everything. So he was in the background of the prison scene of Guardians, but in this movie he was in the bar scene, and he's like dancing in the little dance floor, and he's just like holding some lady, and like Lloyd's like, I don't know, fucking 70 something now, he's old as shit, but he's just like holding some lady, like just doing this slow dance in a circle while all these people are like dancing around, and he looks so fucking sad, just like holding on to this young who knows who, and it was pretty great. The Toxic Avengers on TV in prison too, in one of the prison scenes.
Really?
Real quick, when you walk by, there's a TV in the corner, and it's during the one of the gym scenes in Toxic Avenger before Melvin turns into Toxic,
yeah. That's crazy. So he did a really good. So James Gunn always has those people, right? Like Titi Watiki was in it as well. He was Ratcatcher's dad, like Ratcatcher 1. He always has those like people that he like, like his brother was in it. There was a host of like random people
the
that
guy
he
plays Yandu or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. From Guardians. Yeah. He was.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was the guy with the long blonde hair.
Yeah. Sean Gunn, his younger brother, played Calendar Man, which we saw.
Right.
Cool. And then he was in the motion capture suit. Jesus fuck. For Weasel. So he was walking around as Weasel the whole time.
Yeah.
Or as long as Weasel was there.
Yeah.
Well, Weasel comes back at the very end.
Yeah.
More than we expected.
I really like John Cena in the movie.
Yes, I agree.
You really like. I can't remember. Someone was part of like this little group, and they were talking about like spoilers, and someone was like, "I really hated John Cena's character," and I was like, "You were supposed to."
Right.
Like, he was the kind of like bland, like do-gooder kind of bad guy, and you're supposed to hate his character because that's who he was. He was an asshole.
Yeah. That whole that quote that he says was like, "I love peace so much I'll kill every man, woman, and child I have to protect peace." It was just it just like that like set the tone for him, because that was early on, and then like the whole time, like I'll say, right, like I expected a lot of people to die. I don't know that I expected like it to go like an a battle between them, where like Peacemaker was going to be this bad guy, but like, so I thought that was interesting. I thought that was good. Like that was him and Idris Elba were really fucking good together. Like I don't think either of them would have worked alone without the other one the entire time. Like the back and forth and just them being in scenes together balanced so well. It was really fun.
The way that they turned him into more of like a villain completely, it makes me wonder how the TV show on HBO is going to go. Right.
I agree. Especially because I thought it was going to be, well, I didn't know what it was going to be, right? But then he dies, and you're like, oh, this is a prequel. So we're going to get like early, like really old school, like golden age, maybe fun, hilarious ridiculousness. But then he comes back, and that makes me think that it's going to be, now I think it's going to be post this movie. But I have no idea. I'm excited for that show, though. I got to be honest.
Yeah, especially with James Gunn writing and directing the show, like it makes me, when you have that final, scene where you see him in what's it called, the hospital and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, why do you need him? And they're like, oh, just to save the fucking world. So they're still going to use him to do good stuff, even though he's a shithead. So I'm kind of curious to see where it's going to go.
This was also the first movie I liked Harley Quinn in.
I agree, dude. Like that. Like I
didn't like her completely, but I liked her more.
I like. Well, I also read like an article. There's that part where she's chained up, and she did that herself. Like that was all her.
That was Margot Robbie lifting like that. Yeah, I could imagine that. That seemed like
what the fuck? Like I saw her do that, and I was like, how can she? Like I'm like thinking in my mind, like how can I use my arms to lift my body into the air? I couldn't. I probably can't even do a pull up.
No. Right.
Yeah, it was. It was like on the Colbert Show or something like that. And James Gunn and Margot Robbie were talking about that scene and talking about how James was so excited that Margot was able to pull that off all by herself and everything like that. But then the footage they got, her little like ruffle on her shoulder covers up her face, and he was like, it was really disappointing because that could literally be anybody. And he's like, but it was so cool that Margot could do it herself, but like you wouldn't know. because it covers up her face the whole time she's lifting her own legs up to get the key or to unlock the lock with the key.
Also,
Yeah.
Margot Robbie, if you're watching the show, holla at your boy.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, Margot Robbie dressed like
Good
Harley
shot.
Quinn in
Yeah.
chains, doing acrobatic stuff. You probably have me, right? Like,
Yeah.
but no, like I Harley Quinn. I like Harley Quinn in one scenario, and that's only Batman the animated series, right? That's I never want to read her in a comic book, like, and I don't know why, but like I just can't. It's too much, right? And that scene was really good. And like I feel like what made it better is like she wasn't just like
The main
in every
character.
fucking scene. Yeah. She wasn't like she was gone for a good amount of the movie. They made it about the other characters, which I really enjoyed. Ratcatcher, probably my favorite, one of my favorite characters.
She was
Like,
adorable as fuck.
She
I love
was
her.
hilarious and so adorable.
I did like Polka Dot Man.
That's why I said probably, only because like I knew he was gonna die and I just didn't want it. Like, I really wanted him to just unleash
Milton.
and fucking kill Starro. Like I really wanted that to happen, but I understood that it was going to happen, and I know why it did happen, and it was good storytelling. But
it was definitely a Deadpool 2 kind of movie.
yeah, like everybody, yeah, that with the X-Force just dying, that was great. God, I love that. That was great.
Well, even like the one guy Milton that was with them. It's the one guy from
The cab driver.
Yeah, but it's like the guy who was parachuting with them that just dies.
Yeah.
That became like, yeah. So I read something interesting that so the reason Polka Dot Man, this was like I guess an Easter, one of those big James Gunn Easter egg things. The reason Polka Dot Man had they made him have this affinity for Milton throughout the whole thing was because I guess, I don't know if it was a pen name or a nickname, but it was a nickname or a pen name for Bill Finger was Milton Finger, and he created Polka Dot Man originally. And that's where that came from. Now I thought that was pretty cool. I love how like I love when somebody who's adapting something, especially comic related, really dives deep into it, right? Like Calendar Man was in it, Kaleidoscope Girl, which was like a fan fiction creation, like
Yeah,
kind of
I had to
thing.
read up on that to know what the fuck that was. 'Cause I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was, but I saw her and I'm like, that's got to be something. And I looked it up, and it's Kaleidoscope Girl, who was like, I don't know, 70s or 80s, like fan fiction made character. So that's cool. Like the deep cuts are always fun.
Yeah, like a married couple wrote into the comic and, had this pitch for a character, and she was used in literally a single issue of a comic and never used again.
Yeah.
And James Gunn was like, I'm going to throw her in there. And if I'm not mistaken, that was, Sylvester Stallone's wife.
Oh,
She
really?
looks super young in that makeup, and she's not. She's like in her 50s. And she looks real good in that makeup. She looks like she's in her, 20s or 30s. And yeah.
How
Great.
very Big Shark. He was fucking awesome.
For some reason, he didn't sound like Sylvester Stallone to me.
No,
And everyone's like, it 100% is him. How do you not know? And I'm like, no, I know, but it just didn't sound as Stallone as I thought it would.
I think I wouldn't have known unless I knew. You know what I mean?
I'm glad, because that's where I was at. And everyone's like, how? That's fucking Rocky all
No.
day. And I'm like, oh, okay.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't like. I guess maybe if you are like a big fan, then maybe you would have noticed it. But like, if I just watched this movie not knowing that was him, I would have never picked up on it. I don't think so, at least. But still, great, just fucking great. It's hilarious. It's so good. the whole thing between him and Ratcatcher and like that, where he's like holding him up, nom nom, and like about to eat her. Yeah, that was funny. That was hilarious. I like that
good.
part. Yeah,
her little rat was always looking out for her.
Yes, Sebastian.
Yes, there you go. I always forgot what the name was. Which is cool because they actually used a real rat on set, and they had to give it to her ahead of time to make sure she was okay with it, and I could actually hold it, and, that kind of thing. And I sat and you watch it. Now that I've watched it twice, I tried to pay attention to see when it was a real rat and when it wasn't, because most of the time it looks CGI. You can tell it's CGI because a rat isn't going to stand up and do this and wave to you as well as you can train them. They're pretty trained for that. But
not rats in California, but rats in Texas do that.
Yeah, they wave to you.
Say howdy, partner.
Feifel's Big Adventure, or whatever it is.
Bible Goes West. I almost actually bought that. I almost bought that VHS the other day, but there was like candy on the front cover of it.
Oh,
that's a good one to have.
Can't buy this low grade fucking VHS.
Even for 50 damn cents.
Nope.
Man, when are you gonna get into only buying sealed copies, Alan?
What's funny is whenever I showed Tom the other day that I had picked up Silence of the Lamb, and then whenever I went yesterday and looked for one, they had a sealed copy of it, and I was like, "Do I really need this?" Like, I didn't buy it.
How much was it?
Like 79 cents.
What?
Yeah.
Why would you not buy that for 79 cents?
It just because then I would just have it to have it. Like, what would be the?
But I mean,
I have the movie already. Like, I feel like with comics, it's going to be the same thing with VHS. It's like I'm going to end up buying multiple copies because I don't know exactly what I have, and I don't want that problem.
Yeah, and I always think too, because like realistically, you can buy like resealable type of things and stuff like that. So it's like, was it sealed originally and hasn't been opened? I have no fucking way to tell, especially if it's a movie that came out 20 years ago, 30 years ago. How am I gonna know? But I'm still like, all right, yeah, no, I'll take that. That's cool.
I mean, if I find like a movie that I don't have that I want, and it's like, I don't know. I just unless they start, sealed VHS become like a thing that people want to start selling, then maybe
it already is.
Yeah, I'm seeing more people post graded CGC or graded tapes, and I'm just like, fuck you guys.
Yep, it's there now. Seals, and original tags, and the hangers or whatever the fuck they're called, all that stuff. Yep, just like video games, it's coming.
It was thousands. There was a movie I saw that was sealed and graded, and it was thousands of dollars. Asking for it.
Yeah, a lot of horror stuff too, right? A lot of like a lot of Friday the 13th, a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween.
I feel like whenever people, I don't know what it is, like the majority of people that collect VHSs, they're going for horror VHSs.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I agree.
I saw somebody post like a thing on Facebook Marketplace, and it was like a ton of fucking VHSs, and the little caption was like, most of all horror movies are gone.
Yeah,
like that's. I just want movies that I watched growing up and movies that I like. Like, cool, it's cool when I come across a horror movie, but at the end of the day, I'm just buying movies that I like.
Who's excited about coming across a sealed copy of Look Who's Talking? I
bought that movie the other day.
Is that John Travolta, right? John Travolta.
I'll fucking show you.
I know. I don't doubt it.
He's proving to you exactly who would buy that movie.
But I mean, like, it's not going to demand like the way a horror movie or like some or comedy. I would throw comedy out there, right? Like,
there's so many.
Take like a sealed copy of like something like fucking like Caddyshack, like that, or Animal House, right? Like that's got to be, great. That's awesome. I remember that cover. So
2 thumbs up, bud.
Hey, I feel like I'm at Blockbuster right now.
It's a good fucking movie, man.
Yeah, it is a good movie. I'm not hating on the movie. I'm just saying, I think comedy and horror are those two genres that you'll see. People.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the horror genre, why it's so sought after, is there's so many horror movies on VHS that never got put onto Blu-ray or probably even DVD. So those random things you can only find this way are a lot more expensive. Like I've seen movies all the time listed on, eBay or Instagram and things like that. Horror movies I've never heard of in my life, and I have a decent knowledge of the genre. And so it's really interesting to see because I honestly think it's just movies that went to VHS and just never got picked up for distribution after that.
Right. Yeah. It's not something you could go to like Apple or Amazon and just watch, like pay rent for like $2.99 or something like that. You'll like never watch it unless you track down that VHS.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. So Suicide Squad.
It was good. Go watch it.
It sounded good. It was go watch it. Like I guess my only question is like, I think we all said we were excited for the Peacemaker, but like, there's going to be another movie. There's got to be, right? Like, I feel like they already said there was going to be. Like, if there is, I was thinking about this the other day, and like, if there is, of the remaining cast who's living, do you bring all of them back, or do you just dive right into a whole nother Suicide Squad with all new villain, like all new hero villains, whatever, and like maybe bring 2 like they did this round back, right? It's probably got to be Harley, and it's probably got to be what's his name? Idris Elba's character, Bloodsport, right? And then like a whole new cast of characters. Like,
I wouldn't even bring him back. I would just do a whole new cast.
You think so? Yeah.
I think the idea of having a brand new group makes you like sit back and you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. When it comes to bringing Harley back, we all know Harley is not going to die.
Yeah,
I don't think DC would let her die in any movie. So you're like, it's like putting well-known actors into movies. You know that they're always going to be there,
right?
So I don't know.
Also, there's so many just like disposable fucking DC characters that, I mean, how many people knew about Polka Dot Man before?
Right, yeah. Throw some fucking Kite Man in there, and I'll watch that guy die real quick.
I will. Kite Man would be so great. That would be so.
I was really surprised they killed Captain Boomerang. I didn't think he was going to be killed.
Yeah.
He died. I mean, who cares about the Javelin? No one. Like, obviously, that guy's going to die.
I just wanted like Flula Borg, the actor, to be around longer because I think he's hilarious.
And his voice is just great. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. I agree. I think it would be cool to like see a whole nother round of like, but like, I also want James Gunn to do it, and I want it to be in that same kind of like that same style. Like I thought the movie was just great. I'll say this is my last thing I'll throw out there. Like between like the collective bad guy of the Thinker and Starro, right? Collectively was probably my favorite villain maybe almost ever in comic book movies. Like Starro was so fucking awesome, and like at the end he just said he was like, I was totally happy just floating through space watching everything, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, that made me feel bad.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even consider him a villain though. I mean, I just feel like he was just escaping and just kind of,
he was taken and brought here and fucked with.
So is that what it is? Is it that they're just like there wasn't really like Amanda Waller was the biggest villain out of all of them, I guess, right? Like,
yeah. I don't think there was really too much of a villain in the movie.
But the Thinker was too. Like, I mean,
he was experimenting on people.
Yeah,
and, he's a shithead.
But he was hilarious, and he was awesome, and every scene he was in was like great. Like the whole line where he's like, she's like, "Do you want a dozen angry rodents up your ass, and he's like, you might not be expecting the answer I'm gonna give you or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just nonstop. Like he hit every. It was hilarious. But like Starro was, I liked it because like I thought it was gonna be like them just murdering, you know, like the zombies, the Starro, you know, the whatever the extensions, whatever they're called, and it wasn't. It was like them like fighting Starro, and it was like I don't know. It was I enjoyed it a lot. It's also Starro, which is fucking awesome in my opinion.
I feel like you can only put him in a movie that is comical and people like accept the fact that he's there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Also, like the first comical DC movie that they've released, everything else was always so dark and so serious.
Yeah.
Besides, I guess Shazam was kind of lighthearted, but it wasn't this type of feel. That's for sure.
No. There's a difference between like this was like adult humor. Yeah.
This was DC's Deadpool for sure.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Which it should be. It's fucking Suicide Squad. Like it absolutely should have been this. Yeah, I love the movie. So did you guys watch it on HBO Max only?
Yeah, I didn't get out to go see it in the theater, unfortunately.
I kind of want to go see it in the theater.
I don't.
Well, I do.
There's something relaxing about being able to watch a movie at home and like stop for pee breaks and not pay fucking $20 for a candy bar and not have to smell someone's fucking hot dog next to you. Like,
Go ahead.
I get that 100%, but at the same time, I love the feeling of sitting in a movie theater to go see a film and like it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, I definitely like going to the movies. I've always been like first date, let's go to the movies kind of person. But I don't know, man. I don't want to get sick.
Yeah, no,
I'm very adamant on not getting sick. I was talking today about like the guy I was tattooing. I was like, man, I don't want to get sick. Like I have a buddy who just got really sick and he was like throwing up blood and shit. And he got like the Delta variant. He was like, dude, for 3 weeks I felt like complete ass. And I was like, yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So if any chance that I can, I mean, I say that and then I go to a fucking comic convention where it's like shoulder to shoulder fucking people and I don't wear a mask. But
yeah, I mean, I'll say this, right? Like I've always been a big proponent before COVID or anything. Like I go to matinees, like I go to the 11, 12 o'clock showing and it's like on a Tuesday and there's only 10 people and it's quiet and it's awesome. And that's how I that's what, like, that's just because that's also how my schedule works. Like I'm not going to like a 9 o'clock showing of anything. This is the latest showing of anything I'm going to is this podcast. So
I've been watching Freaks and Geeks a lot lately.
Oh, I love that.
And it drives me crazy. Like you look so much like a young Seth Rogen. Like,
Oh my God. That show is fucking great though.
That's one of those shows that they should have had more than one season of for sure.
I know, it's tough. That's one of those shows, yeah. It's tough, but it's also one of those shows, man, where you will look back and you watch it and you're like, damn, everybody in this show is like a movie star or well known at least. You know,
what is his name? Jason Segel has not aged at all. He looks exactly the same as he did in that fucking that TV show.
Agreed. All right. Well, we said we were going to keep it short this week.
It's the same exact as every week.
An hour and 20 in, whatever. I think we had a good conversation.
We did 10 minutes less than we usually do.
Yeah. It was a good conversation. We had some actual stuff to talk about last week or whenever last week. Yeah, I think it was last week. I couldn't even speak because I was so tired. So good conversation. Tom?
We actually have a cool, really cool show in 2 weeks from next week. Sorry, I muted myself because my hand's like right here. Not next week, but the week after on August 25th. We have 2 special guests. We have a writer and an artist of a new Kickstarter book called Starweed. The first issue was already out, and it's drawn by our lovely friend Tony, who was on our show quite a few weeks ago with his Dark Horse book, The Worst Dudes. So they're Kickstartering issue 2. We are going to read issue 1 and talk about it. Alex, the writer, and Tony are going to be here on the show. Again, that's August 25th. Not next week, but the week after. Next week, we are supposed to read Southern Bastards. It's an Jason Aaron book, and Jason Latour, I believe. Yep. I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know if either of you have read it or not. It sounds like we've all read Southern Bastards. Is that correct?
Yes, I've read all of it. Yeah.
No.
You have not. Okay. So
throw something out there. Throw it out there anyway.
I was going to throw another Jason Aaron book out there just to kind of keep it in that realm. Have either of you read The Goddamned?
I have. Yes. With RG Silva, or what's his name?
RJ something or other.
Yeah.
RJ,
have you read the second volume of it?
Huff and stuff.
The one about the brides.
Yeah, I think I read all of it. I don't know. He's the dude from he's the dude from Scout. It's him and the dude from Scout. Yeah. I pretty much almost always read everything Jason Aaron. I would review that though. That's going to be a much easier review than Southern Bastards. I don't know.
Okay, then since me and you have read both of those, and Alan hasn't read either of those. Alan, would you rather read Southern Bastards this week or The Goddamned?
Can we read Shrek Dark Horse?
Yes.
No, we can read The Goddamned. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to read the first volume or the second? Because they don't go together. They're both about they're both biblical stories, just at different times.
I don't care. Whatever.
So the first one's the one with the little kid, right? He's got like the little kid that follows him around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like the bone people or something like that.
It's a bunch of Neanderthals and stuff.
Yeah. And the second one is what about?
The second one is about 2 little girls. And they're like bred to be brides, and these angels come down to take the bride away. And there's a bunch of like big old Amazon ladies that like force them into this whole.
I don't think I read that one.
Wedding thing. So let's read volume 2.
Yeah, let's read volume 2.
They're both fucking awesome. So
yeah, let's do it.
All right, we're gonna read The Goddamned volume 2 by Jason Aaron and that other guy from Scalped. Go read that for next week. 2 weeks from now, we're going to talk about Starweed number 1, and then we'll let them talk about Starweed number 2, which is a Kickstarter that's currently running and still will be running by the time we talk to them, thankfully. I think it might be ending right around that time. But anyways, go read The Goddamned, buy books from In Stock Trades, go fuck yourself, and we'll see you next week.
I'm about to go smoke some Starweed in a little bit.
Ah!
Oh,